dig old Bix. I get it now.
You do? What does it mean?
I don't know.
And he looks at me, and I look at him, and he looks at me, and I look at him, and he looks at me, and I look at him.
You know, I actually went into Solar Opposites thinking it would just be a Rick and Morty clone, but with aliens as the mains. Didn't help the fact that the animation was the exact same art style, with the jokes in the trailers being pretty similar, but after watching it, I admit it's pretty freaking hilarious and differentiates itself just enough. I actually had a good time watching this, which just puts this up there with the good slate of adult animated series, so good on them. They actually made a funny series that you could just sit back and relax with. Granted, it still has a bit of that adult mannerisms with all the hyper violence and crude humor, but it's still something you could just sit back and enjoy, so that's still good on them.
We're aliens. Our ways are mysterious. We can't be judged by human standards.
The series is created by Justin Roiland, co-creator of Rick and Morty, and Mike Mcmahan, who was also a producer and writer for Rick and Morty, which very much explains the humor and tone of the show. You would think this was just the scraps of Rick and Morty, but that's actually not the case here. It has a lot less cynical demeanor to it that can feel a bit refreshing. Not to say Rick and Morty's demeanor is bad, but this is needed to stand out somehow, and I think being less cynical works to its advantage. The main premise is about a family of aliens moving to Earth to seek refuge from their home planet that was destroyed by a meteor. It does have Rick and Morty vibes, but it's more upbeat about things to keep from feeling too much like Rick and Morty. There feels like it has that level of looking on the brighter side of things while everything goes wrong, which in times such as these, I think we use a little bit more of that.
Coronavirus!
But I digress. It has a sitcom sort of vibe that actually keeps things a bit cozy while the world's on fire. Okay, yes, that's a bit contradictory, but bear with me, it's fun. It can come across as a bit formulaic with how the episode structure is, but it subverts your expectations sometimes with how things play out. You can sit back, relax, and enjoy yourself with this without having to worry about any existential crisis or hints to some type of bigger message or whatever. It's just there for good fun, and I think honestly we need something like this.
God, that's so fucking cool.
The characters are the strong driving force of this series. You have Corvo and Terry, who are basically the parents of the family. They work as that polar opposite duo that manages to complement each other, with one being more optimistic, yet half-witted, and the other being a complete cynic, but gets roped into bad ideas. They have some fun interactions that can be genuine and even lead to the downfall of mankind.
Get away from our fun bus.
Quantum ejector. I think their flesh matrices are attempting to reconcile.
Y'all ready for biz?
But they have good chemistry to them that gives a strong likability, so you can be on board with their shenanigans. Their kids, or clones in this instance, are Yumulak, who's blue, and Jesse, who's green with a bow. They're those kids that have struggles fitting into Earth culture, but they tackle that struggle by simply hurting those that annoy them, and it's pretty funny, like when they literally kidnap a bully and shrink her down and hold her captive. It's messed up, but kind of funny with how they go about it. It's made even funnier when they want to avoid getting in trouble and just lobotomize her by pouring Diet Cola on her exposed brain. Only the creators of Rick and Morty would think of something like that. Yumulak takes more after Corvo with being cynical towards humans, but still wants to fit in with them, while Jessie is more friendly in her attitude, but can get fed up when they can be a bit much themselves. Which, I mean, let's be real, we've been around humans, we know how we get. Let's be humble about ourselves, we know what it's like. Like, come on. They have a genuine brother-sister bond you can actually get behind, and even has some pretty hilarious interactions when they're just not fighting with each other, just talking. It's pretty funny.
I already said I wasn't touching gender stuff.
I'm just out of ideas.
You know what I do when I'm out of ideas? Cocaine. And then I get like a million ideas at once. Ooh, Ooh, I got it. Pants that fly but are also dogs.
Well, I do love cocaine, but isn't it illegal?
Everything cool is illegal. Besides, cocaine is okay for us to eat because our alien bodies process it differently. It's just like sugar.
The family as a whole are pretty enjoyable with their fish out of water story, with a sort of dark and semi-cynical twist to it that actually has nice moments between the characters that helps you connect with them. They're a family who honestly puts a smile on my face with all their crazy antics, even though some of those antics can be downright evil in certain ways, but it's still pretty funny considering how it happens.
Now let's get out of here before we get arrested for all this shit.
Is that the children's hospital? Man, you don't really think of them blowing up like that. I mean, what are they storing? Giant tanks of flammable liquid in a children's hospital? No wonder all these kids are getting sick.
By the way, when we get home, you're throwing out that ice cream maker. You do not use it for yogurt.
Oh my God, have you been sitting on that for an hour? I do too use it.
That is the opposite of true.
The animation is very much the same as Rick and Morty, simplistic but effective. You got strong expressions from the characters and the violence can be pretty effective with its timing and how smooth the show can be. As well as the designs of the characters, they have sort of these silly looks to them that plays into the comedy, which actually gets a genuine laugh through good character interactions. The fish out of water angle actually comes off well since it's done in a realistic yet over-the-top manner. It can be sort of situation comedy in its execution, but I think that benefits this series more. It honestly is pretty freaking hilarious with the dialogue and delivery of the lines. It does have that tongue-in-cheek humor that honestly you should expect, especially with how they comment on society as a whole. And it makes sense considering the fact that these are aliens, but it's also funny with the fact that they try to integrate themselves into our society and into our culture. So honestly, it's just pretty funny how they go about trying to comment on us while at the same time integrate with us. With the characters being aliens, you get some outlandish stuff happening, like the kids just casually doing cocaine in a school. Also, with them being a more highly advanced alien race, they would have certain technology that allows them to pretty much do the impossible, but it could be pretty funny with what they do. Like, they have certain technology that allows them to slice people into pieces and literally regenerate them as they're being cut. And it's made funnier with the fact that these are teenagers that they're doing this to. It's horrendous, but freaking funny. It's just funny watching people get mutilated just for the sake of healing them. They have to be killed in order to be saved. That's just funny to me. I'm just left smiling whenever I watch an episode because they hit the nail on the head with some of these jokes.
Fine, as long as you didn't let your pollens mix and infect anyone, all right? The only way to stop this infection is to inject the serum under their skin, but we can't let them bite us or we'll turn crazy too, which is why we have to use these emergency medical weapons.
We get to cut people up.
It doesn't hurt them. The cuts all heal themselves because of the sci-fi goo the blades emit.
Lame.
But wouldn't it be safer to use like a dart or something?
You wanna use a dart? Okay, yeah, go ahead, use a dart. This is way cooler than a dart.
Let's go stab some kids and save some lives.
So you would think that this show is just a run-of-the-mill sitcom with episodic one-off stories. Well, there you'd be wrong. Over the course of this season, Yum-Yulag has been shrinking people down to the size of ants and placing them inside a wall-sized hamster cage. There, a new society is built with everyone using trash provided to them from Jessie and living under a dictatorship that sneaks in some stuff even Jessie isn't able to get her hands on. A resistance ends up forming led by a man named Tim, who seems like a nice guy that sparks the revolution and leads to a victory, only for him to turn and just take the leadership of the society just for himself, under the guise of doing things for the greater good by hiding the fact that they have a means of escape. This little arc actually has some stakes to it that gets you engaged with it. There are twists that happen that throws you for a loop, and strong and effective emotional moments that deal with loss and fighting for a better tomorrow. And it's the funniest shit ever. It's so funny with the fact that all of this is happening in a kid's bedroom. Like, I was genuinely enthralled by the story that was going on. They had stuff like a hamster dying, and it's honestly heartbreaking. You really feel for it. It's sad. But by the end, I was laughing because I remember how everything came to be with the fact that everyone's there because they pissed off a freaking teenager, and just how silly it all is. This honestly puts this series up there as one of the funniest of this year. It is just a plain Gutbuster. This is a hilarious series. The characters play off each other very well with the sitcom aesthetic to it. You can't really hate anybody here. They all have a good enjoyability to them. The comedy gets outlandish in a manner that keeps its more formulaic tone in check and allows for strong laughs throughout, and differs itself enough so it doesn't feel like the scraps of Rick and Morty. The animation and the design of the show works well with the timing and delivery of the comedy, making it effective in getting a laugh out of you. This is a fun R-rated sitcom series that you can easily just sit down and have a very good laugh at. But that's just a thought.